Hey everybody! I have been thinking about the idea of giving consequences to kids because I've been getting some comments about that and questions about that, and I want to talk about it more. The hard thing is that it's hard for me to talk about something unless I feel this stirring and like the best way to communicate it. So I'm going to try and do that, but I'm actually right now in a situation with one of my children where I've been giving a lot of consequences for a situation and seeing very little fruit. And so I'm just asking the Lord to help me through how to help grow that child and how to help that child see that they are capable and responsible while having a foundation of feeling just that the knowledge and the truth that they are totally loved and accepted by me and by God ultimately, and wanting to just use this struggle-y situation that we're in as a gospel opportunity to bring the light of Jesus into my child's life. And as I'm thinking through this situation for myself, I'm remembering back to a time about 8 years ago with one of my older kids. So I don't remember the exact scenario, but there was something promised to the kids by one of us parents that if their rooms were cleaned up, that we'd have this family time together. I can't even remember exactly what it was, but so there was a time set aside for the kids to do whatever it was that they were supposed to do in their bedrooms, put away their clothes or whatever it was. And then the family time was happening, so we got to that point where we were going to do whatever activity it was. And I went up into my son's room, one of my sons, to talk to him. And I saw that he had not done what was asked of him. And so, the natural consequence would have already been set in place. You can't do this activity because you didn't do the thing. But I looked at my son, and when he realized that he hadn't fulfilled it, it was just like his face just fell, and he was just filled with this kind of like shame and humiliation. And what happened in my heart was I saw that there was this like law, this direction that had been given to him, and he didn't fulfill it. And he was heartbroken, probably partially because he wasn't going to get to do the family activity, but also because he didn't do it. I mean, I know my kid, and he was just really sad that he didn't do what he was supposed to do. And I thought, wow, this is such a picture of what we're like before God. There is this law that has been given, and it shows us that we're failures, that we can't fulfill it. We can't fulfill it in our flesh. We can't fulfill it in our spirit. And it's humiliating and it's heartbreaking when we see that we failed. And so I remember just makes me kind of emotional, but I remember just grabbing his little face in my hands and tenderly looking at his eyes and saying, you know what, you're right, this didn't get done, but I love you so much. And and now that I'm thinking back, there was a lot to be done. It was going to take a while. And I remember just saying, I love you. I would have loved you if had you done it. I love you now, even though you didn't do it. Nothing that you can do, nothing that you don't do changes the way I see you. You're my son, and you're precious to me. And I want you to go join that family time. But this was a condition that this needed to be done in order for you to go to the family time. So I'm going to stay here and do this, and you're going to go. And it was like he just started sobbing because it was so hard. He was saying, please, no, mommy, no, please, please, let me do it. You go. I don't want to keep you from it, please. And I said, I just looked at him, and I remember having just tears in my eyes and saying, you know what? This is grace. This is what a picture, it's a shadowy picture of what Jesus has done for you. And so I want you to experience that, and I want you to receive it, and I want you to enjoy the gift that you're being given, that you didn't have to work for it. It needed to be done, but you didn't have to work for it. So it's being done on your behalf. It's been done on your behalf, or will have been done on your behalf when you finish your activity. And so obviously it's not a perfect example because Jesus is the righteousness of God. And I'm obviously not, but it was a shadowy picture for him, and showing him in the midst of his failure that he's loved and that he can be poured over with grace. And that kind of message, those gospel kinds of messages given to our kids in the appropriate moments and the appropriate times, are the kinds of things that soften their hearts to mom and dad, but ultimately to God. And it's the kind of thing that we need to receive from God over and over and over. Just the reality of the gospel working its way out in our lives as we continue to walk and see how much we need him, and see that he is the fulfillment of the law in our lives, and that we need to just keep receiving and going before him and understanding how holy and good he is, and how much we need him and who we are in him. So I know this isn't probably the most practical and helpful parenting kind of tip in terms of giving consequences to our kids, but hopefully it's helpful to know that we can show the love and grace of God in ways to our kids that shows them the gospel. And, you know, my sons, they aren't little anymore. They're getting older, and they have grown in responsibility, not under a harsh, super high expectations of always being perfect, but under a gentle walking together with one another and communicating and connecting with one another and just living out the gospel as we go about our days. So hopefully this is an encouragement, and I hope that you guys are all growing in the gospel and growing in Christ and understanding the fullness of what he's done for us, and that's outpouring in your relationships. And it isn't perfect. I mean, I don't walk this way all the time with my kids, but picking out examples when I do, it helps me too, because I'm thinking of the situation that I'm going through with one of my other kids right now, and thinking, okay, there's a gospel opportunity in here. There is an opportunity to show grace while also helping build responsibility in my kiddo's heart. So pray for me as I'm seeking his wisdom on how to help my child. And yeah, that's all. So may Jesus bless you and keep you and make his face to shine upon you.